From overnight, a SWAT situation in Albuquerque ends in death. After 10 last night, police got a call about a man who was suicidal at America's Best Value Inn off of Alameda near I-25. APD's SWAT unit was called in to try and talk to the man to get him out of the room. After 2 a.m., officers finally entered the motel room where they found the man dead, and they are saying his death does not appear to be suspicious. So far, no details on who this guy was or how he died. Governor Susana Martinez kicks off the new legislative session by laying out her goals for the state.
And the focus of her State of the State address, education reform and jobs. The governor wants to put more money into education programs the public education department is in charge of and not school districts. Some of her ideas include merit pay for teachers and holding back third graders who aren't reading well enough.
If a child can't read by the end of the third grade, it is far more compassionate to give them an extra year of help to catch up.
If that program were in place, I would have been held back at third grade because I was not reading at grade level. And I think I managed to graduate just fine.
Democratic Senator and teacher Bill Soules, very emotional there, says Ms. Martinez's education plans are seriously flawed. Soules says Democrats will push to give school districts more money so they can spend it as they see fit. For instance, Democrats want a pay hike for teachers across the board instead of merit pay. The governor is also talking about a number of economic goals to make New Mexico a better spot for high-paying jobs. Mexico is still too dependent on the federal government for jobs, according to Governor Martinez, so she wants to spend more than $7 million to lure top-notch college professors and researchers to the state. She also wants to grow health care here and invest in water infrastructure projects. And the New Mexico Economic Development Department has approved more than $2 million to fund more than 430 jobs. The money is going to 5 companies to help them train workers and pay them more. Lowe's home improvement stores in Albuquerque are getting the lion's share. 3 other smaller companies in Albuquerque are also getting some money, as well as one in Socorro.
Democratic leaders are not exactly pleased with the governor's goals. They say she completely ignored a glaring problem with the state's economy: poverty. Shortly after the governor outlined her agenda, Democratic leaders were fast at it, criticizing her decision last year to veto an effort to increase the state's minimum wage by $1 an hour. Las Cruces Senator Bill Soules says this time Democrats are going to pursue a constitutional amendment to raise the state's minimum wage to $10 an hour, the highest in the nation. Another hot button issue that may come up in the roundhouse during this legislative session is gun control.
Proponents were loaded for bear last year, but it was shot down, and some legislators think it'll have a better shot this year, especially considering last week's school shooting in Roswell, which is exactly what they'll be talking about today in Santa Fe. News 13's Samantha McDonald is here with the preview. Good morning, Sam.
Good morning, Matt and Elizabeth. Well, this issue is certainly one lawmakers feel passionately about. Some don't want to see any changes to the law. Others are rallying for stricter background checks. House Bill 44 is known as the Firearm Transfer Act. It would require criminal background checks at gun shows and also require the state to submit those records to the National Background Check System. Last year, the bill passed in the House with bipartisan support, but died in the Senate. Some supporters of gun reform say the issue is especially relevant after the shooting a week ago Tuesday at Berendo Middle School. Others say stricter gun laws are not the solution.
So guns don't get into the wrong hands. And it's not anti-Second Amendment. It's not an anti-gun piece of legislation. It's simply trying to keep our state a little safer.
I think the bill will come up. I think it'll make some progress. I don't think it'll make it through. I think most New Mexicans understand that guns are a right and that that's not the problem in our society.
Members of the group New Mexicans for Gun Safety will be rallying in support of this bill this afternoon at the state capitol. They plan on signing a petition and giving it to Governor Martinez. Matt?
Thank you, Sam. We'll be keeping track of this and all the major issues in the roundhouse this session. You can always get the latest here on News 13 and anytime at KRQE.com. Well, imagine this. You're about to move. Your landlord is there demanding more than $1,000 for a deposit you never knew existed. That's exactly what has some people angry and calling police in Albuquerque. They have tried moving from the Wyoming Terrace Mobile Home Park in the southeast part of town, and they say managers are demanding a $1,500 move-out deposit which was news to them.
I felt that it could be a scam because $1,500 is quite a bit of money to put for a deposit.
It sure is, and on top of that, it may also be illegal because it's unclear if state law allows landlords to charge people to move out by demanding these on-the-spot deposits. See the whole story tonight with Matt Grubbs on special assignment. That's at 9 o'clock on 2 Casa, or you can catch it online anytime at KRQE.com. It is set to be a bittersweet battle when the Candy Lady heads to court this morning. Back on January 3rd, Debbie Ball got an eviction notice giving her 3 days to leave her sweet shack in Old Town. She claims a dispute with her landlord about rent started several months ago when the landlord wanted her to sign a lease and pay more money for rent each month. Ms. Ball says she doesn't want to leave her spot here on Romero and Mountain. It's where she's been for the past 30 years. Landlord tells us he wants the Candy Lady to stay and sign a lease, but she has refused. We'll be in court. We'll let you know what happened later.